Hi there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to reading Machiavelli's Discourses. We're still continuing on Book 1, and today we're looking at Chapter 53. We're wrapping up because we're heading towards the conclusion of Part 1, which has, if I have my numbers correct, where does it go? There it is, 58 chapters, so we get five more to do. We're wrapping it up. This will be a slightly long one, so compared to the other ones we did. So let's go look at it. The title is, and as you know, you can see, shaved. So yeah, it's been a couple days. Many times the people desired its own ruin, deceived by a false appearance of the good. And that great hopes and mighty promised easily moved. In other words, and that great hopes and mighty promises easily moved us. In other words, they were deceived by the appearance of the good, and that the great hopes and mighty promises easily moved the people. Right? This is how it was ruined. Now, the word here is species, literally species, the species of the good, Tarcov and Mansfield opts for appearance. But let me see, D'Alvarez, what is D'Alvarez? I think D'Alvarez keeps it species, doesn't he? I'm looking at it. I just want to look at it. Yeah, he keeps it the false species of the good. He leaves it literally the species of the good. In other words, that, and in many ways that's an interpretation. The false goods, the false kinds of goods that easily give hopes. Okay, not the appearance. See, Mansfield wants to give you the appearance, focus on the appearance. So he interprets this line. Therefore, but Machiavelli's literal word is the kinds of goods, or the species. Literally the false species, the goods that are false. Not that they appear false, but that they're deceived by false things, false beliefs, false things. It's not. See, this is where I think D'Alvarez is more correct here. But let's go in here. After the city of the Byzantines were captured, the opinion entered into the Roman people that it would be a useful thing for the city of Rome to have that half the Romans go to inhabit Italy. It was argued that because the city was rich in its countryside, full of buildings and close to Rome, half of the Roman citizens could easily be enriched and not disturb any civil action because of the nearness of the site. In other words, they can go there because the land is better, and it's like this, and it's going to be like this. The thing appeared to the Senate and the wisest Romans. The thing appeared to the Senate and to the wisest Romans so useless and harmful that they freely said they would rather suffer death than to consent to such a decision. In other words, they would never do it. They never consent. They would rather die. In other words, they thought it was useless and not useful. Because half the Romans say, the people wanted to, take us, we go there. It's so close. We'll still be now. So, as this thing came into dispute, the plebs were so much inflamed against the Senate that it would have come to arms and blood if the Senate had not made itself a shield of some old and esteemed citizens, a reverence for whom checked the plebs, which did not proceed further with its insolence. Right? This is Livy 5. Here, two things have to be noted. First is that many times, deceived by, and I think want to cry because I know that they're translating it that way. He's going to. Okay. Yeah. Okay. False image of the good, and the people desire its own ruin, and it is not made aware that what is bad and what is good is by someone in whom it has faith. Infinite dangers and harms are brought into republics. In other words, infinite. In other words, he's saying that infinite. In other words, many times, people are going to be deceived by by some good. They see a good, and the image. It's a false image. He's going to say here, the false image, the thing that they see. They falsely discern the goodness of it, right? And that the people desire, in other words, the people desire its own ruin, right? By doing these things. And it is not made aware that it is bad and what is really the good it really is, right? By someone who, in other words, the problem is they don't, in other words, someone who the people have faith in, who they believe, who will believe. They're not being told that, well, this is really not good, this is bad, and over here, this other thing is really good. And by not having this, by not having something them tell them what is the bad, they desire, in other words, the thing that they desire is bad, this is what leads them to ruin, right? And is brought into whom it has faith. Right? Now, this is the infinite dangers and harms that are brought into republics. When fate makes the people not have faith in someone, as happens at some time after it had been deceived in the past, either by things or by men, it of necessity comes to ruin. In other words, they don't have. If all of a sudden, because they've been lied to, or in other words, in the past, because in the past. They have been deceived in the past, either by things or by men. Okay, they have been deceived. And because of that, they have no faith in either things or men so that can just tell them, hey, stop, And then this is what destroys them, right? This is when fate makes people not have faith in someone. This is bad. It necessarily comes to ruin. Dante says to this purpose in his discourse he makes on monarchy, De Monarchia, right? That many times the people cries life to its death, and death to its life, right? That's that a weird thing. But he says this is not from De Monarchia, right? But rather from his Convictio, book 1, 11, verse 11 or section 11. So this is interesting. He says he's in other words, Machiavelli gives the wrong reference to this statement. He says this. But it's not in the Monarchia, but it's in a different Dante writing. From this lack of belief, it arises that sometimes in republics, good policies are not taken up, as was said above of the Venetians. When assaulted by so many enemies, they were unable to adopt the policy of gaining someone to themselves with the restitution of things they had taken from others, because of which the war on them had been started, and the league of princes made against them before ruin came. In other words, again, this is several things. Note 5 is a conspiracy, the league or the conspiracy of princes. So it's not league, it's a conspiracy of princes before their ruin came. And that ruin is the League of Cambrai, formed in 1586. So it's literally the League of Cambrai, right? But it's a conspiracy of these princes. Okay, so that's why they're adding information from the text to help do this. Okay, I understand why they're doing it. To oppose the Venetians by Pope Julius the Second, the Emperor Maximilian, King Louis the 12th of France, King Ferdinand of Spain, Margaret of Austria, regent for the Duke of Savoy, Duke Alfonso d'Este Ferrara, and Franzo Gonzalo the Fourth, Marquis of Mantua. Right, this is the league, right, of this. So let's go back to this page. It's a weird passage. He says that this is an example that they had a policy. It was spoken of above, right? Again, this was literally in Discourses book 6, right? Machiavelli could also refer to what he says below in Discourses 3 in chapter 31, but we're not there yet. So, what is said here is the Venetians ruined themselves. They had enemies, and they were unable to adapt the policy of gaining somebody to themselves to restore things that had been taken from others. Right? Again, they conquered 2 places, and they said they should have. What happened was they decided to keep it. Right? They had to rely on others to do it, and therefore they couldn't restore it. Right? And therefore they came to ruin because of this. Second paragraph. Therefore, considering what is easy and what is difficult to persuade a people of, this distinction can be made. So in other words, considering what is easy and what is difficult to persuade a people of, this distinction, what you have to persuade represents first, on its face, either gain or loss, or truly it appears to be spirited or cowardly policy. In other words, it's on this either. In other words, 2 dimensions. It's either on the face of it, what it is either a gain or a loss. And then the second one, it appears to be a spirited or cowardly policy. So there's 2 directions. There's gain, loss, spirited, cowardly. Right. So you have a nice typology here. And when gain is seen in things that are put before the people, even though there is loss concealed underneath, and when it appears spirited, even though there is ruin of the republic concealed underneath, it will always be easy to persuade the multitude of it. In other words, here's another thing. Things often, Machiavelli is trying to say, listen, people pay attention more to the benefit of a thing rather than the cost. Everything, even good things, have costs. And therefore, we should understand the relative value of a good thing, in relationship not only to its mere benefits, but also its costs. Like my example of this always is, if let's say we have 2 things. We have a thing, that has the benefit of 10, but has the cost of 5, and a thing that has the benefit of 7 or 8 with the cost of 2. I don't know, even that is 6 with the cost of 2. Okay, right? Which is better? The 10. I hope I said 10. The 10 with the 5, or the 6 with the 2. Now we think, oh, no, 10 beats 6. No, but if you take the cost relation to this, the actual cost of that is 2, and the other is 3. Okay, and therefore this is the problem here. You can make the wrong, and actually same thing. Something that has a, it's 100, but the cost is almost everything you've gotten from it, or maybe even more, but you don't notice it. You don't notice it. Remember, there's a difference. Things that you immediately see versus things that eventually may come to it. Not all costs are automatically just revealed at the beginning. Some costs are accrued over time. So that's the danger of something that is there is a lot. In other words, it looks profitable, it looks like a gain, but there's considerable loss concealed underneath it, and it's a spirit. That's what they will persuade it. And likewise, it may always be difficult to persuade it that these policies, if either cowardice or loss might appear, even though safety and gain might be concealed underneath. In other words, here's a policy, right? It appears, now on the surface of it, it looks like it's, oh my God, it's cowardly, and it is going to cost you. It says a cost, huge cost, a cost. Well, the cost now, but underneath, the benefit of the cost is going to be huge. But you don't see the long-term benefit or the good there. And also, it's what he says, it's double-sided, right? He says, in other words, even though safety and gain might be concealed underneath. In other words, it looks cowardly, but you live. The other one will lead you to your destruction. Okay. What I have said is confirmed by infinite examples, Roman and foreign, modern and ancient. For from this arose the malevolent opinion that emerged in Rome about Fabius Maximus, who was unable to persuade the Roman people that it would be useful for the Republic to proceed slowly in that war and to sustain the thrust of Hannibal without fighting. In other words, don't directly confront Hannibal. Now, Fabius Maximus said, no, don't directly attack, keep on attacking Hannibal. You lose. Just indirectly attack, go slowly. For the people judged this policy cowardly and did not see inside the utility that was there. Nor did Fabius have reasons enough to demonstrate to them. In other words, he didn't have enough reasons and arguments to demonstrate the validity of his argument, they're saying. So much are peoples blinded by their mighty opinions, that although the Roman people may have made the error of giving authority to Fabius as master of the horse, to enable it to fight, even though Fabius did not wish it. And though because of such authority the Roman camp was on the point of being defeated, that Fabius not remedied, Fabius not remedied with his prudence, right? This is from Livy, right? Just quoting Livy. This prudence remedied the thing. This experience was not enough for it, because it later made Vero consul with no merit of his, other than to have promised in all the piazzas and all the public places in Rome to break Hannibal whenever authority might be given to him. From this arose the fight with the defeat at Cannae, and nearly the ruin of Rome. So, the two examples. In that, oh, pardon me, God. I'm getting some carbon, So in other words, this is almost rule in Rome, right? He says that the first case of Fabius was able to resolve it by prudence, but Vero didn't lack prudence and promised him everything, right? 3. I wish to bring up yet another example of this purpose. Hannibal had been in Italy 8 or 10 years, had filled all this province with slaughter of Romans. When into the Senate came Marcius Sentius Panua, a very vile man, nevertheless he held some rank in the military, who offered that if they gave him authority to enable him to make an army of voluntary men wherever he wished for Italy, wherever he wished in Italy, he would in a very brief time give them Hannibal, taken or killed. To the Senate this request appeared rash. Nevertheless, thinking that if it were denied to him, and asking later became known among the people, there might arise from it some tumult, envy, and disfavor towards the senatorial orders. They considered it to him, wishing rather to put in danger all those who followed him than to make a new indignation rise up in the people, since they knew how such a policy was on the point of being accepted, and how difficult it would be to dissuade from it. In other words, they knew it. They were afraid to say no to him. They didn't think it was wise, but they were afraid to say no to him because they felt that if his offer was known or get known, it might lead to civil disorder, the people atonement, the anger of the people, and the loss in faith of the senatorial class, right? The order, and that therefore it was easier to let him do it, let these people go and rot, because no big loss, right? Thus he went to meet Hannibal with a disordered and unseemly multitude, and no sooner did he reach the encounter than he was defeated and killed, with all those who followed him. So therefore they knew it was going to be. So therefore they kind of knew it. They cowardly did it. They thought it was good, but they said, what is it? They accept. They thought it was going to happen anyways. In other words, they don't want to. They didn't want to risk new ignition rise up in the people, since they knew how such a policy was already going to be trying to be accepted, and they decided, they'd rather put in danger all those people that he would gather. Great, rather than get the other people to go. In other words, it was better to lose these people than if we don't do that now with him, it was going to be requested of us, and we might have to put the better people. In other words, he says what he in other words, voluntary men, not voluntary, required it to go. So no. Paragraph 4, section 4. In Greece, in the city of Athens, Nicias, a very grave and prudent man, was never able to persuade that people that it might not be good to go assault Sicily. The Syracuse campaign. So when that decision was taken against the wishes of the wise, the entire ruin of Athens followed from it. Right? This is Thucydides, book 6, 8, and 9. Right? And Plutarch's Nicias. When Scipio was made consul and desired the province of Africa, Scipio was made consul and desired the province of Africa, promising the entire ruin of Carthage, to which the Senate did not agree, because of the judgments of Flavius Maximus. He threatened to propose it to the people, and one who knew very well how much such decisions please peoples. As in other words, he knew that, right? And this is Livy 28, right? 40 and 45. He knew that was going to happen. Okay, he knew how to get the bypass. The judge, blacksmith, didn't want to have anything, but I'm gonna. If you don't do it, if you don't agree to me doing it, I'm gonna ask the people about it. Okay, and that was gonna. And they're afraid of the people. Examples from our city, chapter 5. Examples from our city could be given to this purpose. Florence, right? As it was when Messer Ercole Bentivoglio, governor of Florentine troops, went together with Antonio Giacomini to camp at Pisa after they had defeated Bartolomeo di Elvino at San Vincino. This enterprise was decided by the people on the mighty promises of Messer Ercole, even though many wise citizens blamed it. Nevertheless, they did not have a remedy for it, as they were driven by the universal will that was founded upon the mighty promises of the governor. Right? This is the Florentines' attack on Pisa after the victory of Savernia was ordered by the Council of Eight and the Council favored by the Gonfalonieri Piero Sarnelli. Machiavelli was sent to Bentivino and Giovanni with instructions for executing the siege, which it failed, right? So it's an example. This was an example of oops, it went bad, right? I say, this is Machiavelli now asserting his own thing, right? I say thus that there is no easier way to make a republic where the people has authority come to ruin than to put it into mighty enterprises. For where the people is at any moment, they are always accepted. In other words, you put great enterprises towards it. It's very dangerous. You can ruin them. You put great enterprises to them, they'll go for it, right? Nor will there be any remedy for those, whoever is of the another opinion. In other words, there's no remedy to this. In other words, he says that there's no easier way to make a republic where the people has authority come to ruin. In other words, a great enterprise. For the people is at any moment. They're always accepted. In other words, they put it then to put it in mighty enterprises. For where the people is of any moment. In other words, they want it. It is the clear sight of ruin, because there's no opportunity. But if the ruin of the city arises from this, there arises also, and even more, and often more, the particular ruin of citizens who are posited to such enterprises. For since the people had presupposed victory, when loss comes, it accuses neither fortune nor the impotence of those whomever had governed it, but his malevolence and ignorance. And most often it kills and imprisons or confines him, as would happen to infinite Carthaginian captains and to many Athenians. In other words, the thing about this is that it's going to blame the captains. In other words, it's not the fault. In other words, it's the fault of the political class. The political class made the error, right? They made the error. It's not that, again. It's the citizens who are made to be officers to do these and assign these tasks when they fail. In other words, and these enterprises, right? The people suppose a victory, but it doesn't come, and when loss comes, it accuses neither fortune nor the impotence of those who had governed. But they believe it's the malevolence and ignorance of the officer, right? And kills them, he goes. And he says the infinite Carthaginian captains and many Athenian officers. Nor does any victory that they had in the past help them, because the present loss cancels everything. So therefore, they forget it. No matter what great things they did, the present failure will destroy. And the people saying, "Oh, you promised this was this great promise." And no. He goes like he says, the present loss cancels everything, as happened to our own Antonio Guicamini, not having captured Pisa as the people had presupposed for itself, and as he promised. He came to such a popular disgrace that, notwithstanding his infinite past good works, he survived more by the humanity of those who had authority over him than by any other cause that would defend him among the people. In other words, the people had authority. The men who had authority over him protected him against the people. It was their humanity. They survived more because of their humanity, not because of the people. The people wanted them punished. You promised us great things. You delivered these great things. Oh no. So therefore, this is how he ends the chapter here. It's not. It's you get a situation like this. It depends on the immediates, those who have authority. If those who have authority over those officials are not human, or they're cowardly in that sense, maybe they will submit to. They fear they're either inhuman. It's interesting. The humanity has saved him. He survived more by the humanity of those who had authority over him than any other cause that would defend him among the people, because the people wanted him. In other words, his disgrace was huge, and they wanted, it was supposed to be a victory. You didn't get it. Okay, and if you have any comments or questions, please put them there below and on the comment section, and I will respond to them and I'll answer them. If you like it, hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Like. If you also share it on your social media, share it on far and wide. Share it to your friends. Share it to people like this. If you have not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Encourage others, your friends, to come check out the channel. Check out the other Machiavelli playlists and the playlist of other authors that we covered. But if you didn't like it, you can thumb down it, of course, but say why in the comments so people can benefit from it. You can learn. They can learn from it. Another thing we can do is, if you want to follow me on social media, the social media links are below. If you want to know more about me as a researcher, scholar, or academic, and check out my scholarship and things like that, you can check out the academic social media beneath the social media. And if you want to help me do what I do here a little bit, you want to contribute, you want to help a little bit, you can do so through through Subscribestar or Patreon. The URLs listed below, or you can buy one of my books. The list of available books are put below. You can do so through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever online distributor, or through your local bookstore, of course. But maybe they don't want to do it, so online distributor. Or you can go directly to the publishers in question and have the book sent to the publishers. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys have a good day. We'll turn next chapter and see how things go. Bye-bye.